would have been a disaster for all of you. I promise.
Congratulations, Paige. Becky's little Paige won first place today in her little skating, or ice skating.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations. I can't hear Becky. I think she's turned off.
I don't know that Becky can hear us.
Becky.
Hi.
No, Hi, there you are.
Hello.
We just were congratulating Paige.
Oh, yes. Get down here.
Yay!
My little ice skater. She's exhausted. We're all exhausted out of our minds.
Yes. No.
Oh, no. Allison, where's my bacon-loving friend?
He's right here next to me. He's fixing to. We just had dinner with, Melissa Peters lives here in Las Vegas.
Yes.
And her husband is an Allstate agent. He owns an agency. And Lance is an Allstate guy. And so we just had dinner with them. And so.
That's fun. So why are y'all in Vegas?
Time out. Ashley, I had fresh corn, creamed corn with bacon and truffle oil.
Oh, you're out of control. That is not Plexus approved, my dear.
No, Lance is here for work. He it's kind of hard to explain, but there was an over the weekend auto dealership big convention, and he oversees the guys that provide benefits, stuff like that. I don't even understand it all.
You don't need to know.
But, so I just figured I should start acting like an empty nester and travel with my husband. And
absolutely.
A little bit of a snot because they don't have poolside service at this pool.
What?
I know. So,
you're in Vegas.
I know.
So
anyway.
Hey, Nancy. Oh, I can't hear her either.
Herself. I am recording this, Ashley. And
okay.
I think we're going to go ahead so we can have the full hour, and I'm going to hand it over. For those of you guys that don't know, Ashley is our Emerald upline. So she is awesome. And I'm so glad that you're speaking. Her little Eli had surgery this weekend, and so it's actually we're very, very blessed to have you, because I know that's hard when you got a little guy that you're nursing at home. And so anyway,
yeah.
So
it's been a crazy week at my house.
Yeah.
But thank you for having me. Are you ready for me to talk? Okay, you're on silent. Okay, thank you all for having me on this call. Yes, it's been kind of crazy at my house this week. I have a little boy who had tonsil surgery, and so he's been in my bed for 6 days. So we're a little exhausted around here. But listen, Allison wanted me to kind of share with you my Plexus story and kind of tell you why it is that I am where I am and what led me to Plexus. And I just think it's been a really neat journey that I have been on, because what I thought was going to be just kind of a hobby turned into a career, and now has turned into something that I never saw coming for our family. And the Lord has taught me more than I could ever imagine through this process, and it has been such a blessing for me. But what originally drew me to Plexus was back in 2012, I had a hysterectomy, and I was miserable. I have 2 little boys, and they're very active, and our home is very busy. I had gained a lot of weight, and I found myself just feeling awful. I felt like I was a failure as a wife and as a mom. I felt like I had nothing to give. I was a hairstylist and have been for 13 years, and I felt like I gave all of my energy to my clients. At the end of the day, I was spent. So I would come home, I would lay on the couch, I would go to bed and not really have energy to do anything. I saw several friends posting on Facebook about Plexus, and I was the girl that was so annoyed. I said I was going to hide them. I was not going to be their friend. They were getting on my nerves. They were wearing Plexus t-shirts. I mean, hello, Team Plexus, That was never, ever going to be me. Until my sweet friend Addie King, who y'all know is our Diamond Upline, started posting about Plexus. And I thought, okay, if she's posting, this has to be legit because I trust her very much. And I thought that she was not going to scam us. So I reached out to her for the weight benefit. That's what I was interested in. Well, she, assured me that if I would join as an ambassador, I could get the discount, so on and so forth. We know how that goes. So I told her that I would, and I actually had very atypical results. I lost weight very quickly. I lost 9 pounds my first week, which is crazy to me even to this day. It was water weight, I get that, but it was weight for me. My husband is in the medical field, and he basically told me I was a moron and not so many words. But he was like, this is one more scam, one more thing that you're going to get into, and you're really going to lose this weight with a pink drink, whatever. Well, it kept working for me, and I began to notice a difference in my energy, my sleep. I had been addicted to Ambien for over 4 years. I was on the max dose, and I literally could not go a night without it. I saw a change even in that and so many different things. At the same time, I was diagnosed with thyroid nodules. That was kind of a fluke how they found those, and I had never had any kind of thyroid issue. However, I became all of a sudden a candidate for Hashimoto's, for thyroid cancer, for all kinds of thyroid diseases. But my doctor thankfully had done a little research on Plexus, and I told her that I was starting these products, and she told me that if I would just stick to these products and I would come in every 3 months for biopsies, for ultrasounds, and I would stay on top of my lab work and all of that, that she would let me stay off medication. Long story short, after 2 years, I still have thyroid nodules. However, my lab work is perfect. I have done nothing differently except for Plexus, and all of my numbers have leveled out. I'm no longer a candidate for any of those things, and my doctor has said that my immune system went from attacking itself to working perfectly fine, which is crazy. I had a health testimony. I have all these wonderful things that happened to me, but when you have a health testimony that is life-changing. I was living in fear of thyroid cancer. I'm 32 years old. So it has changed everything for me. Having said that, I expected I expected to have results, I guess. I expected to lose weight and to feel better. But what I did not see coming was the business. I know that we all hear that this business could be so great and we have an amazing opportunity before us, but I did not see that for myself. Like I said, was a hairstylist. I had people asking me, what are you doing to lose weight? What are you doing to feel better? And I would kind of share with them. Well, it kind of took off for me in the beginning. In my area, when I first started almost 3 years ago, there weren't a lot of Plexus people. Well, I had this dream after about 3 months of seeing what it could do. This was 2013. I was going to be Emerald in 6 months. I was going to be Diamond by the end of the year. I was going to be on the stage with Celeste. I was going to be rocking and rolling, and I had these huge, huge plans for me and my business. Let me just say it did not happen that way. Not at all. It was crazy because in the beginning, people were blowing up my inbox. Everybody was liking and commenting on my status, and then there were crickets, and it just kind of slowed down. It kind of stopped. And I went through a few months of discouragement, and I thought, okay, Lord, is this what you have for me? Is this what you've brought me to? But y'all, what I realized is that the Lord had me in the exact season that he wanted me in. It makes me want to cry. If I wasn't so tired, I probably would cry. But what I'll tell you is the Lord has had me on this journey. And it's so cliche to say, it's all about the journey you're on. Y'all, it is. The Lord has shown me a lot about his timing. That's what I could tell you he has taught me more about than anything in the last 3 years is his timing. It is so perfect. And even though I had all these plans of I was going to be Emerald and I was going to do this and have this huge growing team, what I've learned is that there are so many girls on my team and outside of my team who needed someone to walk beside them that decided to dig their heels in, that had to work really hard for it, that didn't just fly through the ranks. In our team, we have a lot of, I'm trying to think of a term to use, we call them rock stars, okay? What I believe is that we're all Plexus rock stars. There's no doubt. But I know that the Plexus world, we see, oh, she's a rock star. She went Emerald in 10 months. She went Diamond in a year and a half. Y'all, that is not normal. I think that so often we get caught up in that, and we think that that's the norm, and we're the ones that are out here struggling and working hard, and it's going slowly. That is not true. This is the norm. And what I have found is that had the Lord allowed my dream to become a reality, to fly through the ranks like so many that we see on our team, who would be the one to have empathy and encouragement for those girls that don't rank that quickly? I think that the Lord had me here in this waiting game to help me minister to those of you who aren't flying through the ranks, who are seeing progress but not as quickly as you want it to be. And I know that it sounds crazy to say, but if I could go back and be Emerald by 2013, I wouldn't for anything in this world. Because, we can hear those girls that do that. They say, oh, be consistent. It'll happen for you. They don't know what it feels like to go 3 months and not add one ambassador. They don't know what it feels like to lose $500 in PV in 1 month, or to feel like no one cares, or to feel like the negativity is consuming. They don't understand. But what I can tell you is I understand. And Celeste one time posted a video, and it said, how hard would you work for 5 years to be Emerald? That video spoke volumes to me, because I was like on the 4-month plan. I was on the 12-month plan. I was going to be at the top. And I thought, okay, let me look at the bigger picture here. I've been doing this for almost 3 years, and I will tell you the income that I'm making at this season of my life is a lot of people work their entire lives to make this kind of income. And I don't tell you that to brag, because please hear my heart how humbled I am about this. But what I tell you is it is worth it. The consistency, the perseverance that you have to go through is so worth it. I'll also tell you that it's so much bigger than a pink drink and a business. I'll tell you, the Lord, again, has showed me so many things, but what became a business for me is now my ministry. I have had the chance to pray and to walk beside so many people who just need an encourager outside of this business. Last week, I had a lunch with a girl who joined my team, and I thought we would just be friends about the business, all of that. We had lunch, and about 5 minutes in, we changed complete conversation, and she poured her heart out to me and wept about what was going on in her life and her struggles. And I'll tell you, I realized right that second that I was there not because of Plexus, but because the Lord had me here as a friend for her. But I would never have had that contact had it not been because of the tool of Plexus. So yes, it's financially rewarding, more than anything that I could imagine, and it's physically rewarding. But the reward for me is the fact that the Lord is using me to change lives. Yes, in the business, but as a whole, and to be spiritually fed. For one, He's feeding me so much spiritually right now, but to be able to pour that out into other people, it's just been the greatest blessing to me. So I would encourage you, if you are in a season of frustration, y'all, don't give up. It's too good to give up. I have just found that if we can get to the place where we lay it down and say, okay, Lord, this is yours. And I had to get to that place where I said, Lord, if this is what you want for me and my family, I give it to you, and I will work hard for it, but I'm going to trust your timing. And y'all, if I had allowed all these things of discouragement, of self-doubt to creep in, what would I have missed? I think all of the time about the self-doubt and the insecurities that I found in this business. What are they going to think? Is it really going to work for me? That's good for them. That's good that they get Alexis, but am I really ever going to get there? How many blessings would I have missed out on had I allowed the enemy to creep into my heart and let me believe those things? But instead, I dug in, I drew my line in the sand, and I said, I'm going to do this no matter what it takes. And if it would take me 5 more years, y'all, I would do it all over again. It's just so worth it. So hang in there when you're discouraged. And again, I'm your upline. It doesn't matter what level you are for me. I would love to help you and talk you through that. Because like I said, I've been there, and I think that there's power in that when you can find someone that gets it, that did not just get there overnight. So I just challenge you to dig in and to make the commitment, and the fruit of your labor will be there at some point, I promise. I know that right now it may not seem that way, but it will pay off. And people are watching. Let me tell you that too. I know I'm talking a long time, Allison, so just tell me if I need to stop. But the deal is, people are watching. To this day, okay, so I've been doing this almost 3 years. To this day, I have people that will message me and say, hey, I've been stalking you for 2.5 years. I'm like, what? You're on my chicken list, okay? I have this chicken list of people that I felt like I should have hid on Facebook because they were judging me. They were going, oh my gosh, is she really into this pyramid scheme or scam? Those chicken list people are emailing me saying, okay, I've been watching. You're doing something right. Well, yeah, I am. Hello? So I think it's really cool to see, even if you don't think people are watching and you post for months and months and no one likes it except for Allison and me, people see it. I promise you. So keep posting. Don't let that discourage you. Anyway, I think go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you just to get the timeline in my head. So you started taking the products in 2012.
No, I started in September of 2013.
Okay.
When I started, yes.
Okay.
So September of 2016 will be 3 years.
Okay.
So yeah, I started in September of 2013, and then October, I decided I was going to make a Facebook post, the one that Addie told me I needed to make. So I think what I did was, hey, y'all, check out my website, plexusflim.com/Ashley Stuart. That was it. I did not get an ambassador until January of 2014 because I didn't even ask. Like, I thought it was better to get customers instead of ambassadors, even though Addie told me that it wasn't. In my mind, I'm doing the math. I'm thinking, no, I'm going to get a customer instead. So I didn't want to get any ambassadors, and I didn't want to put myself out there. If you came to me and said, hey, you're losing weight, I would tell you why. And then I got a check in the mail. I'll never forget. I got a check in the mail for $400. And I was like, Tim, that's my husband. Tim, I got paid $400. He said, for what? I said, I don't know, but it was so much fun. And he's like, well, that's good, but that's going to run out. He really, bless his heart. Now, granted, give him a Plexus t-shirt. He's Mr. Plexus now. But at the time, he thought, that's going to run out. Like, is it really going to, whatever. And let me just tell you now, when I get my paycheck, I wish he was sitting beside me. Every single 15th, I go to him and I said, guess what my paycheck is? I tell him. He loses his mind, and I say, man, I'm glad I was such a moron and did this whole pyramid scheme, aren't you? And he's like, I'm going to eat those words for the rest of my life. Yeah, you are. Hate to tell you. It's so fun. It's so neat.
So it's interesting that you brought up the whole, I thought it was better to get customers than ambassadors because, I know some of my girls pretty much all of y'all that are on here can attest to the fact that we've had this conversation and we've talked about, how do you vet people to see if they're going to be better customers versus ambassador? And I feel like it's the $1 million question. So I'm interested to hear what Addie told you, like kind of what what's in your head about that.
It's funny because I get asked this question all the time. And I think if you had 10 girls, right, even let's just say 10 diamonds, I think you would get 10 different answers on this, okay? I think that even Addie and I, we change this all the time. In the beginning, I got customers because I felt like it was going to make me more money. Obviously, if you only have one person and they're either going to be a customer or an ambassador, short term, they're going to make you more money as a customer versus being an ambassador, okay? If they're going to order the triplex, let's just say. So in my mind, that's what I thought. And then I realized, oh no, I need ambassadors to rank up. So what I would do is I would offer everyone, I'll pay your $34.95 membership fee. I'll never forget, in April of 2014, I offered a spring special, and I was going to pay the membership fee of anyone that signed up on my team. My goal then was just to get everybody an ambassador. I didn't care if I had just $100 PV for my own product. I'm going to sign everybody up because I'm going to be Emerald, in 3 months. So I think that month in April, I added 21 level ones. 21 level ones. Well, guess what? All but 2 of them turned off the next month. I learned the hard way. Celeste I remember I sat in the hotel room with Celeste that year, and she said, don't offer to pay membership fee. If they can't invest $35 in their business, they don't want it bad enough. So then I changed my whole mindset. I was going to sign up, only customers and until they love the product, and then change them over to ambassadors. I tell you, there's no right or wrong answer. Here is what I do for myself personally. If I have someone who, I think you have to use your gut. I think that, you have intuition on people. If you have someone that you think would be really good at the business, even if they're not interested, and they are going to order the triplex or $100 worth of product or more, and you ask them to be consistent and to give it 3 months, I sign them up as an ambassador, because I know that for at least 3 months, they're going to give me points. They're going to get the cheapest discount. And then if they get the cheapest, or if they get the discount, maybe they'll decide to sell. And if not, they'll just be a wholesale ambassador, long term. Then you have those people that you just know are not going to stick to it. I mean, that sounds awful because we do not want to prejudge. I've learned that the hard way as well. But you just know those people, they'll say, nothing worked for me. I only want to give it a month. I only want to order the slim. I'm not ever going to sign them as an ambassador unless if they want to sell the product. I think you just have to use your judgment with that. I still sign out a lot of wholesale ambassadors. I do, especially if they, financially really want to do the products, but they can't afford it, or if they for sure give me a commitment, they're going to stick with it. Definitely sign ambassadors. But we all know that really successful customers make the best ambassadors. I mean, that's just how it goes. So ideally, I would love to have my customers are the ones that I want to become ambassadors. But I think people, you have to ask them too. I think that some people, if they committed this and they want the business, chances are they're going to love the product. I mean, that kind of goes hand in hand. They come in and they want the whole thing. They're going to love it. It's all about mindset. So I think I wish I had a clear answer on that. I think that we just have to use our best judgment. And sometimes it fails me. Sometimes I sign someone up and I think, oh, they're going to give it 5 months, and, they quit the next day. It's just the nature of the business.
So how many, do you mind me asking, how many strong legs do you have?
So this is interesting. This is actually where I have really struggled. So as y'all know, Rhonda is my level 1. She's my level 1 ambassador. So obviously she's my strong leg. She's my primary leg. What was happening for a long time was I actually got to senior gold by level 1s. Okay. Meaning I almost single-handedly added level 1s to get those points for senior gold, because I would have a few ambassadors that would add maybe 1 ambassador in 8 months. I didn't have people that would take the whole power of 3 business. That didn't work for me. I didn't have 3 that were adding 3. I was adding all this way. But it was good because it was a season, and it taught me a lot, because it taught me to depend on myself. I'll tell you that right now. I didn't want to depend on so-and-so and so-and-so to grow my team. I didn't want to sit back. It was up to me. So I now, after this past year, I have a few, I say strong, I have a 2 or 3, okay? 2 or 3. I will tell you, I have probably 105 level 1s that I have had. I would say about 40 of those are active, and maybe 10 are working the business, if that does not give you an example of how this works. I think that a lot of people think, oh, they have 200 level 1s and they're all working the business. No, ma'am, that is not the case at all. For a long time, I had Rhonda and all of y'all's team, and then I had me, and that was how it was going. But what I will tell you about that is something I've even kind of learned recently about when I say depending on yourself. For example, right now I'm shooting for Sapphire. I've created this visual. I wish I had it in here with me. But I've created a visual, and it just says Sapphire, and it has like 40 ambassadors on my outside leg to be Sapphire. Well, I'm working that visual as if it depends on me. Meaning, every time I add a level 1, I'm marking one of those hearts off, as if I think I have to single-handedly get 40 more ambassadors to grow my team. Well, what's going to happen is I'm going to get down a few weeks and think, oh my goodness, I'm almost there. I've only added this many, but my team is growing with me. But I think it's important that we as leaders, we don't want, hey, Cindy, we don't, as leaders, we do not want to depend on our team, because I think what happens is a lot of people think that when you get to Emerald or above or whatever rank, you can just sit back and coast. Y'all, that is not what I want to do. I want my team to see me actively growing myself and adding at least 3 ambassadors every single month. Not that it always happens that way, but that's my goal. And so if we can work it like it was dependent on us, I think that the team will see that. And I think a crowd follows a crowd. They're going to follow your leadership. So if you're actively seeking out and pretending that you're in this for yourself, I think that your leaders will step up and see that as well. So I think I just chased rabbits on what you asked me, but
no, you didn't. No. So how do you know Rhonda? Did you know her from church?
I did. Her husband, Scott, worked for my dad here in Shreveport, and we went to the same church. And so Rhonda was actually my youth, like a disciple now. We had several different things, and she was my leader several different times, and just family friends kind of. They were very close to my parents. And it's funny because, and I'll tell you this too, Rhonda, when she signed up, she called me and she said, listen to me, I'm never going to do the business. I don't have time for this. As a matter of fact, she gave me her credit card number via text because she said she did not have time to sign up. She was like, I don't have time to even breathe. I am too exhausted. Can you sign me up? And I'm like, Rhonda, it's not that hard. Like, I can tell you, nope, I need you to do it for me. Okay, hello. So I'm pretty sure that worked for her. You know, what I'm saying is don't downplay someone if they don't have the time. Well, hello, Rhonda has the time. You know, I don't know how she has the time, but she made the time. So don't downplay that for sure.
That's amazing. Amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. It's exciting. It's a very rewarding business. I mean, it's just, I'll tell you, first of all, I find my fulfillment from the Lord, you know, hands down, I'm fulfilled by Him. But I'll also tell you that I have never found so much fulfillment in anything that I've ever done until now. I found fulfillment as a hairstylist because I felt like I could walk through every season of life. I treasured my clients, and I could celebrate with them. I could grieve with them. I could do all those things. But something about this business has left me more fulfilled than anything that I have ever done. Getting to pour into people, which is my heartbeat. Y'all, people, this is my heartbeat right here. But getting to just reap the benefit of these relationships, people that I would never have known in my life. I mean, Allison, my goodness, like, I don't know how could I have not known Allison? You know, it's just so many people that I have come in contact with that I think what I would have missed out on, aside from the paycheck and the benefits. It's just the bigger picture is what I desperately want my team to see. The vision of what Plexus is, like, as a whole, what it all encompasses is just incredible. And I just hope that people will, that they'll see that and dig in and fight the fight, I guess, so to speak, to get to the place that you want to be in this business for sure.
So is most of your team is not local? Do you have a pretty strong local team? If Rhonda's your strongest leg, I'm assuming that a lot of that's, I mean, she obviously doesn't live in Shreveport, so.
Yes, there's only one local person from Rhonda's team here in Shreveport. Now, granted, the rest of my team, it's really neat. So, like, all of my local team here, they've kind of just the ones that are actually working the business, they've just jumped on since probably October of last year. So I have this group of best friends, actually. There's 7 of us that have all just kind of taken off with the business. So up until recently, I did not even have a local team. I was kind of doing it by myself, which is very difficult, I'll tell you. It's very difficult when I was wanting to host meetings, and I felt like a loner. You know, I just felt like I was doing it by myself. But now that I have a local team, it's a lot easier for me to do meetings and so on and so forth. But, you know, I will tell you, I've heard recently someone say, it's not about who you know, it's about who they know. You know, right now, my strongest team is in Southern California. Well, I don't know anybody in Southern California, you know, but Rhonda did. And so it's not about, oh, I don't have that many people that are interested. Well, it's not about that. It's about who they might know and then who they might know. You know, that's what's so neat is to kind of see I keep saying the bigger picture, but that's what it is. The bigger picture of, it's not about your little local circle. Great if it is, but it's not always the case, for sure.
Yeah. That's really, really, really encouraging, because I do know that, you know, I have talked to several of my team members, and, you know, we all struggle with our humanity. We are flesh and blood, and we're going to experience things, just our emotional experiences, because we have to pull those in and, you know, do what we need to do with them. But I know that it's difficult, because for me, you know, you look at other people and, like you said, you call them rock stars. Or I think Nancy, a couple weeks ago, in a book she read, you know, this book called them racehorses versus workhorses.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're not a racehorse, it's typically the responses, you look at the racehorses and you think, oh, you know, what am I doing wrong? You know, how come I'm not growing that quickly? Or, you know, I can't even stack a customer base, let alone an ambassador base. Mm-hmm. And so I think that getting out of our own heads is really, really important. And that's a really hard thing to do, because it's hard to put blinders on, you know, because we want to encourage and we want to celebrate and rejoice with those that are doing well. And I don't think, you know, none of us would ever not want to do that. But at the same time, you know, I think it's difficult. I have heard and seen some discouragement just because, you know, we have this goal and we're not hitting this goal. And so I feel like, Ashley, what you had to say has been really, really encouraging for me. Just because, I mean, look at you. You know, you've done this for it'll be 3 years.
Almost 3 years, yeah. But let me tell you, I'm going to get on my soapbox about this real fast. So when we talk about comparison, and I know that y'all hear this all the time, like Allison just said, having your blinders on. I cannot stress to you, if you were to ask me the number one piece of advice I give to every single person on my team, it is put your blinders on. And that is easier said than done, but I have been there and I have had to have my blinders on. And every once in a while I peek, you know, I'm like, ooh, what's she doing? But here's what I have realized is that comparison, as you know, is a thief of joy. And that is in every aspect of our life. I feel like we live in a day and age of Pinterest and Facebook and Twitter and all of these things. And we're keeping up with the Joneses. We're having these birthday parties for our kids that are ridiculous. You know, we're doing all of these things for what? For everybody else's benefit. And I feel like I struggle as a mom and a wife sometimes, and I feel like, well, so-and-so can do this. How can she juggle all of this? How can she do all this? Even with people like Rhonda and Bridget, how do they have 5 and 7 kids? You know, I've heard that in my downline. And how do they have all these kids and they can do all this? Y'all, that is what the enemy wants to tell you, is that you're not good enough, that you can't do as good as they can, and that you need to compare yourself to them and you're doing something wrong. That could not be farther from the truth. We are on our own journey. And like I said a minute ago, I would not take this journey back for anything. Did I say that in the season of sitting at senior gold, thinking I was emerald or deserved to be emerald? No, I didn't feel that way then. But now, hindsight, I look back and see, okay, Lord, you had me here for this purpose and for this person and for this cause. And so I think that if we will just put one foot in front of the other and not let comparison steal what the Lord has for us. And again, in every aspect of our life, we have to do that. And it is really a very difficult thing, especially when those around us on our own physical team we see have such success so quickly. I think that's when it gets hard. I think that when you see all these other teams and these other cities doing, you know, it's one thing, but when it hits close to home is when it's hard. And I had a girl last week, a level 1, say to me, you know, what am I not doing? And I say to her, you're doing everything right. I look back and yeah, I could have done things differently. I could have been more I say aggressive, that's not the right word because I'm not aggressive in my business, but I could have been more vulnerable. I could have put myself out there more. Absolutely. I could have gone and done things differently. However, I was working. I did not sit around and just wait for it to happen. And it still was not working for me, so I thought. But what I did not realize was the people that the Lord would place in my life, even in the last week, in the past month, that can say to me, well, they don't understand. Do you understand what it feels like? Yeah, I do. I understand because I've been there. And I'm telling you, I'm so thankful that I was able to keep my blinders on, because if not, I would have quit. I think that you get to the point where I have seen even like senior golds quit because they think, well, I've worked so hard. Is it really worth it? Am I ever going to get there? Yeah, you will. I promise. You'll get there if you tell yourself you're going to do that. I think that mindset is everything. I think that if we tell ourselves that we can and we are, then we'll get there. I think that a lot of times I see on my team that people have one foot in and one foot out. They're straddling that line a little bit and they want it and they're going to go get it. But if it works, but if they get this, if they can be this goal by then, it doesn't work that way. You know, when I say you have to be intentional in every area of your life, you have to go all in. And it's no matter how long it takes me to get there, no matter how hard it is, how many people say no to me, I'm going to be at the top. If that's 10 years from now, I'm going to do it. And those are the ones that do it. But it takes you physically taking both feet across the line, ripping the line off the floor and going forward. You can't straddle that line and be in and out. You have to be all in for sure.
Yeah. What is the most beneficial business building or personal growth book that you have read? Like what would be your number one recommendation, or number one and number two?
Oh, how about number one? Because I'm going to be really honest. Okay, here's me being very vulnerable with your team. I'm a terrible book reader. I know Lance would be, not very proud of the fact that I'm not reading all these wonderful books every day. But let me think. I would say the Flip Flop CEO was really good. I like that one. And then Rock Your Network Marketing Business by Sarah Robbins. Those two are really good. Unfortunately, I have not read tons and tons of books. Do not follow my lead in that. Go buy all the books. Nancy, are you asking me a question? I can't hear you.
I'm unmuting. Okay, so my question is, you were a hairstylist until just recently. So how many hours a week did you work?
As a hairstylist, I worked for a while I worked 4 days a week, and then I went down about 3 days a week. I worked long hours. I would sometimes work 10 hours a day.
How did you find it hard to get your Plexus stuff done with your job?
I did, and I'll tell you that's actually why I quit my job, was because what was happening was I was working doing hair, like I said, pouring all of my time into my people, and I would have one client after another. And so I didn't have the free time that the stay-at-home moms did, where they can respond to emails and messages all throughout the day. Even though I technically was at home, I have a salon out of my home. It just didn't work that way for me. So I was having to do calls and all those things in the evening, and I felt like it was taken away from my family. But at the same time, it was worth the sacrifice. Now, I'm going to use that term very, very loosely, okay? And I know that a lot of people see this differently than I do. But what I'll tell you about sacrifice, and again, I'm answering like 5 questions at one time. I'm sorry, Nancy. But
good.
Did I sacrifice? I did. But my family is first. Hands down, every day of the week, my family comes first. Will I sacrifice a little bit of time? Yes, because my family knew what I was working towards, to quit my job, to do these things. Will I sacrifice my family? Absolutely not. If there was a need in my home, that was always, always, always most important. I've heard a lot of people in this business talk about sacrifice to an extent that we basically want to just sacrifice everything, and I'm not going to do that. But I think that there's a happy medium. There's a balance. But was it difficult? Yes. The fact that what time is it, 9, 10, and I have makeup and mascara on is a miracle. I was usually in bed at 8 o'clock at night. I was just one of those. I still am. I'm kidding myself. I am one of those. So it required me to stay up later and to spend time on my phone answering emails and messaging people. That was a sacrifice, but one I was willing to take. But it's difficult. It was not easy at all. It was difficult, but again, worth it, because I got to the place where I could walk away from that job that I loved and was very successful at financially. I mean, it was a great job for me. But, this kind of outdoes that. So.
Awesome.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. I just know, looking at the people that are on the call tonight, I know several that work full-time and some that work part-time. And I think we all just have to learn how to juggle. And, I know at Gold right now that I'm doing okay, but my goal is to go up. But I'm not going to be able to quit my job right away.
Right.
Even if I'm up at Ruby at this point, just because right now I'm the only salary at our house. So that's...
And you know what? You don't have to quit you don't have to quit your job. I'll tell you this. I felt guilty. This is going to sound silly, but I was sitting at Senior Ruby and I was still working. Granted, I was working part-time and I had lowered my hours, but I felt guilty because I felt like there was a stigma of, you do Plexus, you have to quit your job. That's just how it looked to me. And I wasn't ready to do that at that time. I wasn't. And part of it was because I was scared. Fear drove a lot of that in me. But at the same time, it was very financially rewarding for my family, and I felt like I didn't need to quit my job in that season. So not that that's even where you are at all. I'm not even sure, but I'm just telling you, it's okay that you work full time. You can be a successful Plexus ambassador and a successful businesswoman all in the same breath. That is the beauty of network marketing. You have to find a balance without a doubt, and it might take you a little longer to get there because of that. But if it takes you 5 years versus 2 years, oh my gosh, in 5 years you're making more money than a lot of grown men after 30 years. So it's okay, it's okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Does anybody else have any questions, any particular questions for Ashley? You better speak now or forever hold your tongue.
I know, because I'm never coming back. Never doing this again.
Never.
I'll speak.
Hey, Becky.
Hi. Can you give us a little rundown of what you do as far as training goes for your level ones?
Training?
Yes.
Is that what you said, training? Okay.
Yes.
So that's been hard. I will tell you. I have kind of changed over the past few months, but I will tell you one thing that I have done recently is not even I did, but I have a girl on my team who's created a website, and I'll send the link to Alice and y'all can look at it. It's been very helpful. For a while, I would send them all these documents. Well, that didn't work. They don't read those. If they are local, I try to meet with them or do a Zoom call or a phone call. I think it is so important to get them on the phone. I have some girls that want to do it all over text or Facebook messaging. I feel like you lose them. I think that it is so necessary to either get them on a call or face-to-face and kind of explain to them how it all works, what they can expect, kind of give them a roadmap. But recently we did this website. It's a Weebly website. I'm talking about things I don't even understand. I don't know anything about technology, but this website is kind of a one-stop shop for all of our people. And so they can go there and it lists out every single thing, what they should do, how they should do it, all the products. It's an incredible tool that we have found. Another team here locally did it, and they gave us the website, and we just kind of copied that with their permission. And it's been a great resource. So I'll send that to Allison for y'all to kind of look at, because I feel like it encompasses everything that I've ever tried to train my team with, all in that one website. So, but I think most importantly is making contact with them and not just expecting them to, not throw them to the wolves, to kind of walk through them and spoon feed them if you have to for a little way. I mean, you don't want to just baby them, but if they need you, hold their hand and be there for them every step of the way, kind of walk through it with them.
So when you get
what about your wholesale? What about your ambassadors that are wholesale, Ashley? Do you treat them like customers and follow up with them to make sure they're being consistent, so you can kind of keep track of who might be turning stuff off, how do you manage that?
I do. I follow up with everyone, whether they want to be followed up with or not. I will tell you, I have the extreme. I have a wholesale person that's been a wholesale person for 2 years that I talk to every single week. They want my help. I reach out to them. They need me. They have questions for me, and they have every week for this almost 2 years. I have a girl who's a wholesale girl for now 2 years who I have reached out to every month, and I have yet to hear one word from her. It's crickets. But I still consistently say, hey, girl, just checking on you. How's the plexus? She never responds. So I think that you just, they'll let you know. I think if you have someone that needs your help, you're going to realize that versus the ones that really kind of want you to back off. I still check on those, but I think it's different with every single person. I think you have to use your judgment and see what they need from you in order to, but yes, I follow up with everyone, even wholesale ambassadors, I follow up with them.
You do that via just Facebook Messenger, or is that what you do?
I do. I'm not one to call people. I just feel like that's the beauty of Facebook, right? You can hide behind the screen. I mean, but it's true. I mean, it's one of those things that you can, if they don't want to talk to you, they don't have to. So when I say follow up, I send a message, hey girl, just checking on the plexus. How's it going? That's it. I don't bombard them with information or ask them 1,000 questions. I kind of leave it up to them. The ball's in their court. And then how they respond, then I determine my response. If they say good, well, they probably don't want to talk to me for an hour. But if they come back with 3 questions, then I'm going to respond, and so on and so forth. But yeah, it's a very brief, hey, just checking in. How are things? Can I help you? That kind of deal.
Can I ask a question? Oh.
Yes.
I hate being late to the party. You may have already talked about this, but what do you train your team, your level ones? I know you talked about the Weebly website. What are those things that you put there? Like what kind of things you say, these are what you need to know?
So I make sure that they understand the compensation plan, first of all. The first thing that I tell them to do is to make their list of 100 and start reaching out to 3 people every single day. I challenge them to reach out to 3 people 5 days a week. And I tell them to write that down that they did it, because I found that in the beginning I was saying, oh, I'm reaching out to everyone. Well, really, I really wasn't. So I challenge them to do that. And to not be judgmental, not to prejudge. Like I said, my chicken list are people that are either already customers now or they're ambassadors on my team. In the beginning, I would try to feel like, oh, who needs plexus? And I would think through my friends, who could benefit? Well, I have learned now that everyone can benefit. So I don't prejudge. Everyone needs plexus for some reason or another. But I make sure they see the bigger picture. I make sure they see the potential of the income financially, what it can do for them. And then I talk to them about comparison. I talk a lot about personal growth in the very beginning more than even the business, because I feel like that's necessary. The whole keeping your blinders on, don't pay attention to what so-and-so's doing, your journey, that kind of thing.
Are there any documents or anything you like training, like here's a how-to list?
Yeah, so Tamara Holloway, last year at convention, Allison, were you in that with me? Were you? Yes. So at convention last year, it was wonderful. They gave us, it was like a new ambassador training, and they posted it on, I don't know if you have that file, Allison. It's like the new ambassador checklist. Do you have that? If not, I can get it to her. But yes, I tag my newbies in that, and it's a step-by-step guide. Everything that I just talked about, making the list of 100, and hers even goes far enough to say, like, week 1, here's what you should do. Week 2, it's a very hands-on, step-by-step guide. As far as I'm a new ambassador, now what? It's not just a generic video, but a very literal, this is what you do tomorrow and the next day and so forth. So I would definitely check out that document.
Yeah, I have that, and I think I want to say I've uploaded some of those things into our team page, but I can email, if anyone wants it, I can email that to them. But yeah.
Perfect.
All right. Well, this has been very helpful, very encouraging. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank y'all so much for listening to me run my mouth.
No, you haven't run your mouth. We just have about 10 minutes left, and I was going to just say really quick, and then I'm going to turn it over to Lance to close us out. But we went today to the MGM Grand just to check it out. Y'all, I'm going to tell you, last year at convention, Ashley, did you stay at what hotel did you stay at last year? Do you remember?
I'm trying to. I don't remember. Where did I stay at?
Well, we stayed at the hotel. I don't remember what it's called. It was right across the street from the convention center, the Hyatt.
I think I was at the Hyatt.
I think that was. Well, the MGM Grand is going to be like 10 times better than the hotel, better than even Phoenix. I mean, it's just there's food courts everywhere. I'm really, really looking forward to it. So one of the cool things too is the monorail ends up at the MGM. That's the last stop. So you can get from the MGM Grand, hop on the monorail, and go wherever. So that's a good thing too. But I just was gonna put that out there. I know Cindy's going. I know Becky and Nancy are going. My mom's going. Valerie, are you considering going to convention?
I'm teaching summer school.
Oh, okay.
Aww.
Valerie's a teacher, so
Okay.
the kids have to learn. So
Those kids.
those darn kids.
Yeah.
But I think maybe Betty is going. Am I right, Nancy? Betty's going. I know Kara's on the call. Kara's going. I think Jen's going. So we've got a really big team, and so I was going to just tell y'all that I was really super excited, and so we'll just plan on doing our little some team meetings in our room and talk about some things, after the events, and it's just going to be really good. So we need to talk it up even on our team pages and make sure that whoever wants to go gets signed up, gets registered, and gets to go. So,
and it's worth the sacrifice, I'll tell you. I mean, it sounds like most of you are going anyway, but is it a sacrifice? Yes. It is worth it. It's imperative to your business, and I feel like it's a cliche. It's a game changer. Leaders are born at events. It changed everything about my business. I think that you'll see the integrity of our company, our leadership as a whole. You need it to be there. So yes, try as many people as you can get with you. You want them there. It will change their business, I promise.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to let Lance close it out. We've got about 8 minutes.
Okay.
Stops recording.
So it's a 20-minute story that Ashley took all of my time.
I'm sorry. I tend to do that. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. There's another resource out. I know that's a book that some people like to read books, but it's called Everyone Communicates, but Few Connect. So I want to give you a little visual on how to connect with people, because so many times we feel like when we're going to connect, we have to tell people what we know, whether it's my current business with Allstate, or if I'm talking to someone about Plexus, or you guys are talking about Plexus. We feel like the way to credibility, way to connect, is to regurgitate tremendous amounts of facts and data. But what I want you to do is picture that when you're talking to somebody, there is one microphone between the two people. And your job, your role, is to keep the microphone in the other person's hand. And a little story on that is, let's say that Allison and I just got back from Aruba, and we had a fantastic time. And we start visiting with Ashley about, just life in general. And she then tells me that, or tells Allison and I, she's getting ready to go to Aruba. And before she has any time to tell us about what her plans are, what do you think 90% of the general public in our position, what do? We hijack the microphone. We take it away from Ashley, and we start telling her, oh my gosh, you're going to love it. We just got back from Aruba. We did this, this, and this, and this. We basically shut her down. She was in a talking communications mode. And because we felt like we needed to tell her about how great Aruba was, we hijacked the microphone. Our job is to keep them talking. And even if they want to hand us the microphone and, hey, have you ever been? Yeah, we have. We just got back. And you take it and you put it right back into their hand. So whether it's their health related things, their family, whatever it might be, if you can picture that there's only one microphone, and the longer you have it in your hand, the less likelihood you're going to be connecting with them. And another sidebar on that is the more they talk and the more we listen, and this goes against our traditional thought, but the more they talk and the more we listen, the more credible we become, because we are listening to what they have to say. We're connecting to people. And until you connect and you build relationships, it doesn't matter how much you know. It doesn't matter the facts or the data. It's going to be wasted. So that's my 2 cents worth. Keep the microphone in someone else's hand.
That was more than 2 cents, Lance. That was like a whole $1.25.
Well, with inflation, maybe.
I mean, you know. This has been so fun.
It's been fun. Thank you, Ashley.
You're so welcome.
I know so many. A lot of my team members have never met you, so.
Yes, I know. I'm looking forward to meeting all of y'all. I've met most of you on here. A few of you I haven't, but I'm looking forward to convention for that. It'll be fun.
Yes, and we will be praying for sweet little Eli.
Go Tigers.
Yes.
Go Tigers. I'm telling you. He was up all night last night, so I'm praying that we will sleep tonight for sure.
Yes, we'll be praying that same thing. So unless anybody else has anything to add, I think we're done. We're 5 minutes early.
Yay.
Yay. Y'all have a great week, and we will meet back here the first Sunday of next month.
Awesome. Can't wait to see y'all at convention.
I know. All right.
Peace out.
Good night.
All right. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.